Hello and welcome to this customized training for the Technical College System of Georgia. I am Carla Stroud, Senior Consultant with Blackboard. I am excited to show you the features of Blackboard Ally. During this video, I will discuss accessible versions and how students and instructors access those versions, Ally scoring, and the different indicators and corresponding colors, how instructors can access instructor feedback and guidance from Ally, and lastly, the ease of correcting content via the content area or content collection once the modifications have been applied to your document. Ally is designed to move digital content up on the accessibility spectrum. It does this by providing guidance to the instructors and providing accessible versions to students without replacing the existing document. So let's take a look from the student preview of exactly what the student sees once content is uploaded into Ally. Ally will generate a range of more accessible alternatives to the instructor's original file and make them available to all students in the course. For example, if I look at the introduction to the monarch butterfly, I can see my original file that I've uploaded as I would any other file within Blackboard. You'll notice some things that might cause some issues. So students do have that option to click on this chevron. Now they can click on it here after they've already opened up the original, or if you'll notice, they also have the option to click on the chevron directly next to the file name and click on accessible versions. You will notice that once they've clicked on the accessible alternatives indicator, the primary format will be a semantic HTML, which uses markup to reinforce the meaning of the information. And I'll just download that. The ease of download, you have the option here of opening, or you can save the file. So right now I'm going to open that file. It's relatively quick for the students to download that particular file. Notice the difference. It puts in some structure. It takes out some of the contrast for colors, those things that might cause issues. It definitely makes it more accessible and easier for students to navigate who happen to have a screen reader, and also it works very well on a mobile device. It also generates additional alternatives such as an EPUB, an electronic braille, an audio for students to listen to, and then depending upon the content, it may create some other versions, such as if you upload an untagged PDF, then it will create an alternative version of a tagged version of that particular document for the students to utilize. That's the student view. Now let's take a look at the instructor view. The instructor is also able to view the accessible versions simply from the good old chevron that we all know and love in Blackboard. You can click on accessible versions and see the same thing as your students, but more pronounced for the instructor is the content accessibility indicator. And that would be the little gauges that are here. Ally runs through the automated accessibility checklist and machine algorithms. It will provide an indicator. That indicator will identify problem areas and indicate how accessible content is for students. As you can imagine, it's much better to receive that green indicator upon upload rather than having to revisit and edit the content. The indicator provides every document with an accessibility score. So if I click on this one, you'll notice my accessibility score is 100%. That's what I want to see. The percentage score that is designed to reflect how accessible an item actually is, how many students it can affect, and how severely it affects them. Ally takes a weighted average of the accessibility rules, with some rules having greater impact to calculate the score. Now you'll notice I have several different colors here. I have red, which means that the item needs immediate attention. Notice you'll see this pop-up that says accessibility score is low. Click to improve. If you get red, it will have a score ranging from 0 to 33. So if I click on that, notice I get that percentage and a way in which I can fix it to make it more accessible for my students. I also have an orange indicator. That means that I have a score of medium and it needs further attention and will receive a score of 33 to 66%. Now what I really want to see is the green. That indicates you are doing well, but further improvement might be possible. You will notice a variation in the green color. It's slight, but what that means is if you get the dark green, your accessibility score is perfect. Green is anywhere from 66 to 100%. As a rule of thumb, once an item is in the green zone, it should be doing reasonably well on the accessibility spectrum. And if I look at this one, you'll notice I'm at the 67 percentile. Once the indicator is selected, like I just previously did, Ally provides instructor feedback and guidance for the most effective change for all of your students. So if I looked at something like, any of these will work, I guess. If I click on that green one again, it tells me that this PDF contains images that are missing an alternate description. From there, the instructor then can, if they're not sure of what that means, they can always click on what this means. Notice there are arrows down at the bottom, so I can move from page to page. It'll tell me all the reasons I need to make those changes. I can close that, and then I can click on how do I actually add those descriptions, and it'll give me some guidance. And it tells me first I need to find my original file, and then I click on yes, and then I choose the software package for which I created that particular document. Once I have found the document, I've made my changes, then it's as simple as clicking on Browse for me to upload, or I can drop the file, whichever works best for me. And I'll just choose one of these. Doesn't really matter at this point. And I probably won't make a change because I haven't added that alternative description, but if I had, it tells me if I haven't made the change, it'll tell me I need to try again and add the change to that particular document. For things like images in which all of you have to work with is creating that alt tag, it's as simple as clicking on that indicator. Once again, it tells me why it matters. I can either add alternative text, or I can say that this image is decorative and does not need a description. Otherwise, I could type in here something that's descriptive: person holding a monarch butterfly, if I could spell, with a tag. And I could add additional if I needed to. Once I click on the add, it immediately tells me I've added that description. Here is where I could edit it if I needed to, but it gives me that 100%, and I can click on close and move on. Now this is from the content area that I upload those files. I also have the option, if I like, to go into the content collection area. From here I could go into my course files, and I could look at all of the different accessibility. Notice I have a column now for accessibility. This is your logo, so I could click on this and enter my description here. I wouldn't have to do it within the course itself. So I could put in Tcsg. I'd normally type it out, logo, and click on Add. If instead it's a file, I could go into my area where I have my files. Once again, I have that accessibility. Here's my course syllabus document. It's telling me that it's red. Red is not good. I could click on that one as well. And it tells me here are all the things that are wrong. My document does not have headings. It tells me how I can add headings. Once I've added those headings in, I simply select that document. And we try again in a moment. If it doesn't work, I should be able to browse. Otherwise, I can always go back into my lessons area and do the exact same thing. So in either spot, I'm able to upload my files as I need to. The workflow will be for instructors. They will put their content into their course as they always have done, either through creating a file from Browse My Computer and or Browse the Course. So this could be my course syllabus document. And from there, I could click on Browse Course, go to Introduction, choose my syllabus, submit it, and submit one more time. You'll notice that Ally is relatively fast in pulling in. Notice right away, I get that indicator. I can click on it, and then from there, make my changes, the same ones that I had earlier, in my syllabus, and open it up. It takes it a moment. Now it tells me it's excellent. And then I could click on Fix the Next Issue if I needed to. If there isn't any guidance, that means I'm doing pretty well on that accessibility spectrum, and I can move on. So you'll notice Ally is very easy to use. It's not like you have to turn on anything else. To recap, Ally will focus on the primary entities involved in the digital course content by providing accessible versions to students and feedback and guidance to the instructor. During this video, we did discuss accessible versions, Ally scoring, how instructors get that feedback, and then how they correct it via the content area or the content collection. If you have documents within your content collection, one last thing that I didn't mention, if you have documents in your content collection that you have not linked into your course, they will not have an accessibility score. Otherwise, they will have that score. And once again, it's as simple as clicking on it, making the changes, and then browse to upload your file. I hope this video helps you and you found it useful in using Ally. Thank you and have a wonderful day.